I said, okay, while my wedding ring cut a quiet circle into my finger. She thought it was surrender. It was consent to begin. The room smelled like her perfume and reheated ambition. She stood by the mirror, adjusting a dress she never wore for me anymore, rolling her eyes like I was a tedious meeting that ran late. "Don't be dramatic, Michael," she said. "It's just one night." With the man she'd dreamed about since our marriage. I watched her mouth form the words like a practiced apology she'd rehearsed for months. I nodded, calm, measured. Okay. I didn't shout, I didn't plead, I didn't ask questions that would insult us both. I knew the answer to the only one that mattered. She thought I was small, safe, predictable. A husband you cheat on because he won't ruin you for it. We met in a season when believing felt like breathing. I was building then. Long hours, quiet deals, a spine made of patience. She loved that I listened. She loved that I remembered details. She loved the future because I was carrying it. Somewhere along the way, she stopped loving me and started loving the view from above me. The man was a headline, the lover, a face that smiled from business pages. He had the kind of charisma that sells illusions and the habit of confusing applause with loyalty. His company was in talks with a firm I knew intimately because I helped structure it years ago before I stepped out of the light and let others put their names on my work. That's the thing about invisibility. People mistake it for irrelevance. The changes came softly. A phone turned face down, a new password, laughter that arrived late and left early. She stopped asking how my day went. She stopped noticing when I was home. I noticed everything. I found the message by accident, or maybe fate was tired of subtlety. A preview flashed across her screen while she showered. One line, no names. Enough. I didn't read more. I didn't need to. The pattern had already confessed. Heartbreak is loud if you let it speak. I didn't. I boxed it up and labeled it later. I became a planner, an archivist, a patient man with a long memory. I pulled files at night, not illegally, not recklessly. I reviewed what I already owned, old agreements, dormant clauses, forgotten contingencies. I reached out to people who owed me favors they forgot they owed. I made calls that began with, "This stays between us," and ended with silence heavy enough to mean yes. The merger was fragile. Everyone knew it. Two giants pretending to dance while standing on glass. What they didn't know was who laid the floor, or who still held the warranty. I moved slowly. I let her leave that night without a scene. I let the door close. I poured a drink and toasted the quiet. Then I sent 3 emails. Then I made 1 call. By morning, the market had questions. By noon, the questions became concerns. By evening, the concerns became exits. No scandal, no leaks, just confidence evaporating when the right people realized the wrong assumptions had been made. She came home glowing, humming, careless. I kissed her cheek. I asked if she slept well. She laughed. That laugh, the one she used to use on me when she wanted something. The phone rang. Unknown number. She answered with a smile that didn't survive the first sentence. I watched her face drain as the voice on the other end climbed into a scream. I didn't hear the words, but I didn't need to. Panic has a posture. "Our entire merger just collapsed," the man shouted. "Who exactly did you say your husband is?" She stared at me like she was finally seeing a ghost. I met her eyes, steady, gentle. I didn't gloat. I didn't explain. I poured another drink. The room was quiet again, honest this time. Later, when she tried to speak, I raised a finger, not in anger, in punctuation. I said okay, I told her. That was me choosing the timing. The confrontation wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. She cried. She blamed stress. She blamed loneliness. She blamed success. I let the words fall where they belonged, on the floor, uncollected. I showed her the documents, not everything, just enough. The prenup clause she'd laughed at when we signed it, the advisory role she never bothered to understand, the board seat she never asked about. The man she chose had gambled on ignorance. So had she. By the end, she knew the shape of the damage, not just to him, to herself. Reputation is a fragile thing when it realizes it was rented. I didn't take everything. I took what was mine. I left her with the rest and a silence she couldn't negotiate. Now, alone, I confess this without shame. I didn't destroy them. I removed my protection. Gravity did the rest. Betrayal teaches you who's watching and who's waiting. Revenge, done right, teaches them who you are when you stop pretending to be harmless. I wear my ring no longer. The circle is gone. The mark remains. And when people ask why I stayed so calm, I tell them the truth. I wasn't calm. I was ready.